What is up, DTube? So today I want to talk a little bit about the change of liquidity on Uniswap for HEX. So it kind of went down from around 350 million HEX available to on the HEX to ETH pair. It went down to around it basically went down to around at the moment 50 million hex. Now it's up a little bit to 65 million hex, and this makes so it basically takes less Ethereum to pump the hex price, but it also takes less Ethereum to dump the hex price. But this seems to be a move to disincentivize traders, basically. Yeah, it seems to be a move to make people trade less and to stake more. And this is really interesting because it's like, okay, you have a few. I think this is done because there are a few big stakes of hex, like a billion hex coming out of stake in around March. And if they would sell that, let's say they would sell that on the market, they would basically get a couple of $1 million from that, and basically hurt, let's say, the long-term investors. So it seems like this is a move to try to prevent a super large trader to exit massively early in the hex ecosystem. So automated market makers like with Uniswap is really interesting. I mean, it's a little bit similar to how DTC works, which is also on Uniswap, where you see when there's not that many coins around, you get a lot of exciting volatility, and a lot of people actually enjoy buying into that, like when it goes up and down a lot constantly. So I mean, the hex stakers, they're probably not going to be much affected by this because they're so long term into hex, like 5 years. Um, it's it's going to be very interesting to see how this kind of plays out, because there are like clones of hex out there. They try to go the opposite direction, where they have like 90,000 Ethereum in the liquidity pool on Uniswap v2, but then it takes so much more Ethereum to just pump the price. And how is that good for the holders? Isn't that like screwing over the holders much more, where you need to find like 90,000 Ethereum to like 4x the price? Is that really a good use of capital? Because what can happen here is, okay, so now if a large whale want to get out, and they just want to create massive panic on the market or something like that, they would only get around 500 Ethereum, and other whales with huge bags could basically restabilize the price super fast just by doing some buys of like 500 Ethereum again. So also the liquidity kind of changed. So you have around, okay, so last time I checked, it was 65 million hex and around 500 Ethereum on the ETH to hex pair, and then there was around, I think, 50 million hex and like 500,000 USDC on the HEX USDC pair. So the stablecoin pair with HEX has the same amount at the moment of liquidity as the Ethereum pair, um, which is interesting. So is this going to make so traders? It's going to be interesting to see how traders, especially larger whales in the crypto ecosystem, is going to react to this, because now what would happen is their larger moves, if they want to buy in like super big, it would be extremely visible. While before, when it was around $6 million liquidity, they could kind of sneak in, but now it would be super visible. And it's also interesting with a lot of early hex accounts that maybe got like 10 million hex. I mean, at the moment, that would be 1/5 of the current hex that exists on the hex to ETH pair, or like 1/6. I mean, that is a pretty big chunk they have over there. And so yeah. So now, I mean, this gets super interesting on so many levels to see how the whales are gonna play this one, because now it just takes, I think, around with $800,000, we would almost be at 3 cents, maybe $900,000. We would be at 3 cents. Before, it took around $4 or $5 million. But now it only takes like 1/5 of that value to go up. And now, so let's say we are at around $800,000, we would like 3x the market cap of HEX. We would basically flip XRP already then, and I think it will already become top third crypto right now, with just around $1 million, something like that. In terms of like the market cap stuff, it's gonna be interesting to see how the market cap is going to behave, because I mean, it seems like this is a setup to try to get to $1 much faster. And if X goes to $1, its market cap will be really high. It may even be higher than the Bitcoin market cap. So if you would see, so in theory, HEX can become the top one crypto in terms of market cap already this year. And of course, we know that the market cap is a vanity metric, but still, a lot of people in the crypto community are still looking at that as they're still looking at the market cap thing as a very, very interesting metric to follow. So Bitcoiners love this, like, oh wow, $1 trillion Bitcoin market cap, even though they're counting like 4 million lost coins. It doesn't exist anymore, so why is that still in the market cap? It's like, that's a little shady, to be honest. So, and it's like, I don't see any other thing at the moment coming anywhere close to HEX market cap, where it seems like it's going to go. These clones, they just need they need so much Ethereum. They need so much Ethereum to get up to the same kind of market cap, because they have a different way they structure their own kind of system. So these long-term holders, I don't think they're gonna be so much affected by this, because like if they really want to cash out a lot of coins, they can just split it up uh, with with a daily trade for like maybe 30 days or so, to get a better like price instead of like doing everything at once. Because what we saw, basically what we saw with when you had like $4 or $6 million in liquidity, people still do these like stupid moves where they do like massive buys at once, like do massive buys at once, and they basically get a worse order execution when they do that. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, you should probably do it much slower over many more days. And especially now, this new system with only 65 million hex in liquidity, it's really going to incentivize people to move slower, basically, to really think about the buys that they're doing, because right now they're going to have a much bigger effect on the market. And then maybe that's going to make so people become much more attentive to what they're doing. Maybe this is going to make it so more traders, instead of just trying to make quick money, actually use HEX for how it was designed, to stake and hold. And of course, a lot of traders has been holding their HEX in a liquid way. Now this new system is kind of trying to incentivize them to kind of lock up their coins instead. Um, Obviously, I think some traders are going to be very upset about this move. Uh, they're going to prefer the much more in liquidity. But some other traders are really going to love it, because they're really going to be able to benefit from the liquidity, from the from the volatility difference. How now we can have more 30 to 40% moves up and down again. Uses we had in April in 2020 and in May 2020, when you saw these massive moves of HEX, like when it was just going up massively, and people, and that's a really good marketing thing. Like when people are seeing something having like massive volatility, traders, a lot of a lot of traders also love that. Um, and this is really going to try to incentivize those like big massive whales with hundreds of millions of hex to really go back and restake it. It's gonna work, I think so. I mean, if it doesn't work, adjustments can always be done. Millions of more in liquidity can be added again if it doesn't work out so well. But I think it actually is gonna work out pretty well. Um, so so yeah. Um, so where is HEX going in terms of price this year? Well, it seems like with this change, it's kind of almost like inevitable that we're gonna hit like 20 to 25 cents already this year, according to me. That is what it seems like it's being set up for. It's almost like, why wait when you can do something faster? And I mean, we can just imagine. I mean, the amount of Ethereum the origin address got, I think it's worth around maybe 70 to 80 million dollars right now. And just imagine if that is just like sitting on the sidelines, and let's say some of these like whales that bought in early into Hex, let's say they want to really hurt the Hex price. Um, in theory, the origin address can just like keep go back and like restabilize the price if it would see some mass exit of whales. So how it becomes more designed now is more for the little guy, for the guy that has like below 10 million hex. They will really benefit more from this move right now than massive whales, because they're more like because there's more like money on the side that can like come in instead of always having to sit in liquidity. And of course we don't know what people do with their own money, but we can kind of speculate what money may do on the sidelines for HEX in the long term. This also means like when there's only like if you combine the USDC pair and the ETH pair with HEX, around 100 million HEX available. So you would only in theory be able to get 10 more, like 10 more dolphin whales. Yeah, around 10 more dolphin whales when it comes to HEX, if they would have like 10 million HEX each. But then again, we have to remember that as you get more buys and the HEX price goes up, you need less HEX to have a higher USD value. So in terms of USD, you can probably be a dolphin eventually with like maybe like 300,000 HEX or something like that, because people still measuring so much. People still measure so much in the USD value, while experienced OG hexagons are mainly looking at the shares they can get and kind of counting the shares instead, because they understand how the share price system works in Hex. But yeah, this is an interesting move. And people are gonna have to get used to hexagons talking about price again this year, because we're probably gonna see some very interesting moves. Had a 350x last year, and why wouldn't, I mean, we should at least be doing like a 10x this year. I mean, it's just like simple math. So it's going to be interesting to see the behaviors and the game theory. If it's working out great, we may see more and more projects trying to do what Hex does. It's going to be interesting. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Have a great day, DQ.